Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Please let us know where you are streaming from, what part of the country, the world that you are in. My name is Crystal Baker. I'm the founder of 412 Training Group. And as of this upcoming weekend, we are solely helping women leaders and their teams develop the systems and organizational infrastructure so they can see their mission come into fruition. And I serve them through helping with strategy, building infrastructure, the systems and processes, and training their teams on the various ways to be efficient in how they serve, whether it's a congregation, clients in the community, if you're a nonprofit, or just thinking of better ways to streamline your processes if you are in corporate America. So last month we talked about finances. We talked about, the important things that you need to do and know when it comes to finances for nonprofits and churches. And then we also had Melinda on, and she talked about taxes. It was a really great and informational presentation about taxes. I need to go and update my W-4 form so I can make sure I get my, little stuff together. So really great and informational. You can go to our YouTube channel. You can just put in the search at 412 Training, and you'll be able to see all of the other videos that we have that we streamed. And so this month is going to be all things administrative support. Today we're going to talk about the beauty of having a virtual assistant. And as my, role as a consultant, I typically see where the bottleneck lies when it's with organizations, especially if it's nonprofits and churches. There is a lack of delegation from the leader's standpoint, or they do have administrative people who they deem their admins or secretaries, but they may not have all the resources that they need, or they may not be skilled for that position. However, that is the person that they trust. And then there's a whole group where they just don't trust anybody and they try to do everything themselves. So today, I want to highlight about the beauty of having a virtual assistant. If you say, hey, I'm not ready for an employee, or I want to test out how it is working with somebody, I highly, highly recommend that you outsource a lot of the administrative things that you are doing to a virtual assistant. We have Brenda Sanders here today. I'm going to bring her on, and we're going to have some dialogue about why it's important, why it's needed. And maybe you've never thought about a virtual assistant, but hopefully after today, you will think about, maybe that's, a hire that I need, a contractor that I need on my team. So I'm going to bring in Brenda. We see Evangelist Ladelphia Boyd is on. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. I'm going to bring on Brenda. Hey, Brenda, thank you for being available and participating in this much needed discussion.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, I'm excited to have you. So tell everyone a little bit about, who you are, the name of your company, and what it is that you do.
Absolutely. My name is Brenda Sanders. I am the founder, owner, CEO, head admin, everything of AGF Ministry Virtual Solutions. I started this business almost a year ago when I left corporate America and seeking my purpose. I figured, my gift is in help, so let me help people. Is what brings joy to me. So AGF is abundant grace and favor. Um, resonates really heavy in my spirit because God literally has shown me his favor and grace in building this business. So, with that, that is literally the foundation of everything. I'm literally here as a vessel to help people, mainly in ministry leadership roles. I'm moving more into churches just to help out more with the strategic planning and organization of the church. Um, Currently, I work with a lot of nonprofit organizations, some individuals, business owners, all faith based, of course. Did I say authors? Authors, coaches. Yeah. So
So, when before I became 412 Training Group, I was Kingdom Ministry Solutions, and I was providing similar to what you're doing, providing services to nonprofit organizations, faith-based communities, churches, helping with them with their administrative things as well. And what I found for myself was I was creating the solution. However, I wasn't looking at things at its complete totality. And so what I create may work, but it may be, a train wreck further down the tracks because that other area isn't organized. For you, when you transition from corporate America to doing this, did you have to kind of find your way in exactly how you wanted to help administratively? Did you take the things in corporate America and your experience in ministry and kind of mesh them together? What was your methodology with starting AGF?
so basically, before my last corporate job, when I left high school, I started working for the Detroit Board of Education as an administrative assistant. So I took the skills from that and paired that with my faith. And that's how I started approaching my clients. So I'm like, hey, I'm really great with email marketing, email management. I'm really great with, everything admin. So how about I help start there? I'm finding that with a lot of my um, nonprofit organizations, they are needing help with their foundation. So basically, I'm doing a lot of research and learning alongside of the admin that I'm great at. So it's just basic knowledge of pretty much everything I've done in totality
Mhm.
um, that I'm providing to help them to build and grow out their ministries.
You mentioned about nonprofits, helping them build foundations. Have you experienced, and then what is just your, if you've experienced it, what is your experience with the organizations that are more established? They know what they want, versus those who, hey, I know I need the help. It's a lot of foundational things before I even get to the administrative stuff that you need. You go and you thinking, okay, I'm going to help with this, and you start looking around like, whoo wee. This is like putting the cart before the horse. How is it like that difference between established organizations and newer organizations?
3 letters. SOP.
Mhm.
Established foundations have their standard operations procedures in order. So you literally have that Bible right there that
Mhm.
tells you this is how we conduct our business. This is what we do for outreach. This is what we do. So that is a blessing. Now, people who are a little more foundational, I mean, non foundational, just getting started, those are the ones that I'm building the SOP out for. So I'm going in and I'm like, okay, so if I were training the next person, then I would tell them to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z. So then I'm building that whole thing out. Um, it's not much of a difference, but when you think about somebody that's already established and then that person who's just, trying to figure it out, I kind of like that more because it allows me to be more creative and give them a fresh perspective
Mhm.
versus the people who are like, oh no, we already did this. You just follow what we put down.
Mhm. Mhm. Um, for those who are trying to establish a foundation, what would you think are some of the roadblocks? Because the reason I'm asking these questions is I want those who are viewing to really listen, because you may be a roadblock to the support that you need, being successful or rendering the service effectively. Because I know from my experience where I've created a whole recruiting process for HR department. And it looked good in theory. On paper, it looked really, really great. And I was like, hold on, we need to have a training and we need to test it out, because what looks good on paper and then the actual practical functioning of something, it may be a disconnect where there needs to be some adjustment. So I want to know from your experience that you have, what have been some of the barriers, pushback, frustrations when working with a newer organization that they have a passion, but they just don't know what they're doing?
So, God bless them. Those are the ones who I find are really great micromanagers.
Mm-hmm.
They are pretty much afraid to trust the person that they've outsourced to help them. So they pretty much have it in their heads that, hey, this is my vision, this is how I see it. I don't need a fresh perspective or a different set of eyes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that is the number one obstacle. It's
Yep.
that I can do it all mentality. And they're not open to change.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just as a woman of a particular age.
Mm-hmm.
um, some of my clients are younger, they're millennial, and they're building out ministries, and they're like, no, my social media, my this, my that, and I'm just like, whoa, you have to start from here in order to get there. So it's just that not not trying to do everything mentality. It's trusting that someone else with a little experience can get in there and strategically help you build this thing out.
I'm glad that you brought that up because typically with visionaries, they see like the end goal. They see the field stadiums, they see, the flashing lights from the camera, and they see whatever God has shown them, they see the end result. But what they don't understand is there are pieces of building blocks to get there. So what you see, um, God may not be saying go as of yet. He may want you to marinate on it and like receive additional download. Or he is saying, okay, do it. But because you're a visionary and you're not strategic, or you're not a visionary who's administrative and strategic, you get a little, they tend to get a little bit impatient with people like us, because we're like saying, hold on, I'm not telling you no, and I'm not telling you that you can't do it, and I'm not saying that your vision cannot come into fruition. But what I am saying is, before you go to step one, can we at least look at the blueprint first to see what's needed and the mechanics of what is needed to at least build the foundation? And organizations that have been around a long time, they do a lot of stuff, but they don't have foundation. So there's that other group, those who've been around a long time and they're more organized and they just need support that they can outsource to. Those who are brand new and they have a passion but no foundation. And then those who've been around a long time and they are unorganized as if they are a brand new organization. Those are the ones where I tend to run into the pushback, the not trust, because they feel like, well, I've been doing this for 20 years. Yeah, but it's been raggedy for 20 years. You haven't been successful for 20 years. You've been doing stuff, you've been hosting conferences, events, uh, having church services, serving the community, but you haven't been successful, and you don't know that you're successful because you've never established any goals, any um anything to help you measure, no type of measurement. So when they do, they need the help, but then when they come in, when people come in to kind of help change how they've been looking at things and doing things, that's where the fear sets in,
Mhm.
because a lot of people are comfortable in chaos. They thrive in, I'm one person and you're octopus doing 20 jobs. And as a leader, in the year of our Lord 2024, you cannot go into this year any further operating like that. That's why it is the beauty of having a virtual assistant. Um, Brenda mentioned SOPs. Now, part of your homework, I was gonna wait to the end, but since we're on this topic, is things that you are doing repetition that you could outsource or automate. I want you to write it down and really write down the steps that you're doing. Um, so when you do, get ready to outsource to a VA, you at least have some type of concept, because many times y'all be wasting VA's time. Y'all want to hire them and don't want to give them anything. Micromanaging. You mentioned micromanaging. Kind of explain from your perspective as a VA how that kind of stalls the progress of what you, and whether it's a pastor, a CEO, a department leader, how does that stall the process of trying to move forward?
Okay. So personally, in my business, I don't experience that. I don't experience micromanaging because during my onboarding or my kickoffs, I'm always transparent. I do not, I let you know up front. If you are a micromanager, I can't work with you. I'm not the person for you because I like to work, you give me instruction, let me do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the type of person who will tell you, hey, check it out, give it a review, let me know what you think, and we work together. But you have to trust that I'm a professional and allow me to do my job. So I don't have that problem. In the past, when I worked for the board, I used to have people who would go behind me and, you know, check the mail to make sure that this was done today, and look at the outbox, make sure. I'm like, look, you're not trusting me to do my job. It's making me feel away. So I walked away from the job, because I felt, you don't trust me. I've been here for years and you won't allow me to show you why you hired me in the first place. You tell me I'm doing a great job and give me bonuses and things like that. But at the same time, I'm always looking over my shoulder like,
Mm-hmm.
what do you want? Why are you here?
Mm-hmm.
So, what I think from a nonprofit perspective, if you have someone that you have outsourced and you've already sat with this person, this person, you're trusting that this is your person, you have to trust them that you're going to train them up, and if they feel like, okay, maybe this process is a little broken, you want to hear them out and not just put that, this is my thing, I've been doing it for 25 years, you can't tell me anything. This is why you're stagnant, because of that mentality. So when it's all said and done, micromanaging is any freelancers, and I say faith-based freelancers, it is any freelancers ick. It's our ick, if you will. Like, we just want you to allow us to be the professional that we are.
I agree. Because my thing is, if you all in my lane, you could be doing this yourself. Because why did you hire me? And I'm glad that you know, identified those types of behaviors. And now this is, hey, this is a non-negotiable. And those of you who are looking to become VAs, desire to be VAs, think about that as something that you incorporate in your business processes as well. I know I've refunded people, even though I was entitled to it. I wanted to let you know that I wasn't playing, and I'm refunding you and going somewhere else, because I'm not going to do it. Not just with the micromanager. On the other flip side of it is those who are not engaged in the lack of response. Both of them bad, the total opposites of the spectrum, but the feeling, the ick is the same, because I'm doing work, I'm doing things, and you just totally took your hands off the wheel. And it's like, I need some sort of engagement, because even if you've paid me, if I walk away from this assignment today, I'm not confident that you or your team is going to pick it up and continue it.
Mm.
So yes, I got paid, but you wasted my time. I could have been on another productive project. Um, and so the lack of engagement. So have you ever experienced the lack of engagement from a leader or team? Okay, you haven't, I have.
I have not.
And it is extremely frustrating, because like with me, if I don't get excited and my brain don't start dancing, and okay, have you ever watched Endgame?
Mm-mm.
You haven't? Okay, so those of you who have watched Endgame, when Doctor Strange or was that one of those ones where Doctor Strange, after Thanos took the time stone, and Dr. Strange is sitting there and he's doing this, seeing how all of the possibilities, but it was only one possibility that they were going to win. That's how my brain works. So when I saw that part of the movie, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing a visual depiction of how my brain works. I can see a million possibilities of your vision when I hear it. Now, when my brain gets to tap dancing, I truly believe, yo, this can work. But what saddens me is when I know it can work and God gives me solutions to help you, but you aren't confident in the ability to see your vision come into fruition. So one side of it is a lack of trust with the micromanaging. And then on the flip side is the lack of confidence. It's almost as if they are afraid to succeed. And then that's frustrating to a strategist, to a person who is an implementer, because your lack of participation, your lack of feedback, your lack of carrying it through shows that you don't even care about your own organization.
Hmm.
And so it's really sad because it's like, wow, you got this awesome thing going that if you implement it, you wouldn't have to work for anybody else a day in your life. So there needs to be a lot of confidence and just mindset change with trust and the lack of confidence. And for another piece of homework, for those who are watching live and will be watching a replay, if you have trust issues, and you probably don't even know that you have trust issues, but you may need to go on like a team retreat and have a real heart to heart conversation. But if you are a person who's like getting defensive when they're trying to give you feedback, yes, you have trust issues. You have some sort of rejection, trust issues. There's something occurred in the past that you need to address, because you're not going to be able to keep your team, anybody you or outsource work to, if you do not trust them. And I always tell people we want to be like Jesus, right? So if Jesus entrusted us with God's plan of reconciling man back to God through his son Jesus, and Jesus tells them the Great Commission, this is what I need you to do, go and do these things. If he trusted the disciples with that, why can't you trust somebody to send an email? Why can't you trust somebody to make a decision? So I encourage you, if you're lackadaisical, why are you very passive? What is your fear of accomplishing and seeing God really bring things to pass? You may need to go to therapy. I believe in Jesus and therapy. So you may need to go with someone to help you unpack limited beliefs, because when you have limited beliefs, it hinders you from seeing the success that God wants you to fully walk in. And then you can't see the beauty of having a virtual assistant because you're having limited beliefs. So let's work on that before you start hiring people, before you even file any type of LLC or nonprofit. Do some self work, because your limited beliefs is going to impact your organization and how successful it can be.
Agree.
All right. So when a person is looking for a VA, what would you recommend that they kind of sit and think about first before? Because some people are like, oh, I need help, but they don't know the type of help that they need. What are some things that they need to sit and think before they reach out to you or anybody else, of identifying why are they saying I need a virtual assistant?
Yeah, so I like to encourage everybody to have a brainstorm session. Just sit down with a good old piece of paper and an ink pen and figure out all of the things that you do that are very time consuming, the things that are tedious and repetitive, that if you could give those away to somebody today and your life would get that much better, then those are the things that you need help with. Those are the things that you can literally outsource to someone. I would recommend that everyone who's watching this goes to my website, agfministry.com, and join my mailing list, because I am going to have something really special coming out at the top of next week, for those who are thinking, hey, I may need a virtual assistant. I have a 12-step checklist that I am putting together specifically for you.
That's good. Having that checklist is good because many times as leaders, um, bosses coming into something new, you know you need help, and that's when they get overwhelmed. You're so consumed and overwhelmed, and you start having, extremely bad anxiety because things are just too big for you. What do? I don't know where to start first. I know I need help, but I don't know what type of help. And that checklist is going to help you because sometimes you think you need a particular type of help, and it's like, no, you need this. Um, I don't know if you've ever worked with, and if you did, you can, add some color to this. Have you ever worked with an organization where they may have an admin or some type of person who's clerical or administrative on the team, but they lack certain skills? And they are supposed to either glean from you or you work with them, but it's a little bit frustrating because they have limited knowledge, limited skill set, and you're not confident in their ability to retain what it is that you're creating and giving to them. How do you deal with those things?
Okay, so A, I have been in that situation. B, it's my personality. It's just who I am up front. I don't have those type of problems because I'm like, okay, hey, I wouldn't be here if you were doing an amazing job. So let's work together. Let's talk this thing out, and then we're gonna bounce ideas off of each other. So if this is how you're doing it and it's not working, why don't we try it my way, which is this way? And we talk it through and we figure out a solution that works. And typically I can be like, okay, that person's good. And I can just go go back to my life. So I don't with me, okay. So I'm just gonna go back a little bit when you were talking about communication. So that is one of the things when I onboard somebody, I am so it's kind of sickening how transparent I am. But I let people know upfront, this is not gonna work if we don't have open communication. I, with all my clients, give them the opportunity to text my phone, call me, FaceTime me, do whatever you need to do to get whatever done. You know, um, I set my boundaries in place very first meeting. So I tell people at the end of the meeting, okay, we're done. Pray on it, and then we'll come together next week, and you can let me know if you think this is going to work for us. I've had a 100% yes rate. No one's ever turned me away because they appreciate the fact that I'm really upfront with them. I'm letting them know, hey, we need to communicate. We do weekly check-ins. If weekly is too much, let's do a bi-weekly check-in. We're gonna communicate. Like, I can't be great at what I do if I don't know that I'm really great at doing it for you. I may be great for doing something for this coach or this author, but it's not working for your church or your organization. So we have to communicate. That is my number one. Like, if you don't take anything away from my meeting, you're gonna take that away. That in order for this relationship to work, we have to communicate. So that's just number one. Number two, we go over boundaries. I don't want to overstep your boundaries, and I don't want you to overstep my boundaries. As faith based people, it's really easy for us to align because we have that shared faith in common. So, with us having those Jesus characteristics and trait, it's easier for us to resolve any conflict or not even have it really because we're upfront. It's full transparency. So, some of the things that a lot of people go through, I don't go through it because I just set myself up that way when I started the business. Like, okay, I don't work weekends. I'm a 9 to 5er. This is what your contract says. These are the hours that I give you. So please don't bother me on a Saturday because I'm not bothering you on a Saturday. And for the most part, everyone respects that. I haven't had anybody who I'm just like, ugh, rip contract.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, good for you. Good for you. And I think having the boundaries and the contract sets the tone. And again, those of you who are looking to be virtual assistants, you're thinking about it. Do not reduce barriers or don't have boundaries just for the sake of getting a client, because that would be the worst mistake that you would ever have. Those are typically the worst clients to have. They're very stressful, demanding, and they don't even want to pay. So having those boundaries are really important. If you do not work weekends, guess what? If they try to call and email, don't you answer that phone and don't you respond to that email, because what does that do? That sets the tone, let them know, oh, she wasn't playing. Yeah, I wasn't playing. I don't work weekends. I don't do this. I don't do that. You have to set those boundaries because, one, if this is your business, you need to be able to have your business scaled to a way that you can manage the client load. And you can't manage your client load if you're trying to serve everybody outside of the scope of your contract. And so having those contracts help to prevent scope creep. And scope creep is, we started here and next thing you know, you're adding some additional things and more things, and you realize, hold on, this is not even what I was contracted to do. I'm doing a whole different scope of work. And because you're doing a whole different scope of work, you're not even getting adequately compensated for doing that work. So I know we're talking about the beauty of having a virtual assistant, but the beauty of being a virtual assistant and you having those parameters is that you can serve your clients more intentionally because you don't want to be overwhelmed. I know I experienced that. Because I really wanted to see certain organizations do well, I started to like take in things and do certain things that was kind of in line with what I was contracted to do. And it just, I started having bad anxiety, and I didn't realize it was anxiety at the time. But the anxiety was telling me, hold on, you need to pump your brakes. You ain't even supposed to be doing that. And that's when I had to take a break to say, what is it that I really, really want to do, that I really, really enjoy? And I'm going to stick to that one thing and that one thing only, and I'm not going to deviate from it. If it's something I know that I think that they need, I'm going to refer them to somebody else that is their expertise. Even though I know how to do it, I'm going to refer them to someone else because I want to make the main thing the main thing. And you, as a leader, you have to do the same thing. If you've contracted somebody, don't keep piling things on that's out of their scope of expertise, because you're going to get frustrated and they're going to get frustrated. If you hire them to manage your calendar and they're great at that and that's it, don't have them to try to manage your social media, especially if they don't understand social media. Don't do that, because that's going to frustrate you and that's going to frustrate them. And then they can't focus on the main thing. So then outsource to someone else who's very skilled in that area. Um, when it comes to supporting organizations and you go in and assess, what they need based on what they are contracting you to do, how do you recommend the tools that they need? If they don't have adequate tools, they don't have certain things to be successful, how would you recommend? And then what are some things that you recommend to the leaders in embracing and hearing what it is? Because everybody gonna always go to money, but, and I'll talk about that after you answer, but how do you recommend, and it don't even have to be tools, it can be any kind of resources.
So, like I said, I'm a little bit older than a lot of, the girls. They're all really tech savvy, and I'm an old fashioned pen and paper kind of girl. I'm one of those people who, once we agree that this is going to be a working relationship, I go in and I take inventory. So I'm like, okay, how does this process work? How does that process work? Okay, so this needs work. How about we try this? I've successfully implemented this in someone else's, so why don't we give it a try and see if it works for you? That is typically well received by a lot of leaders. They like that. And a lot of them like the fact that I'm just going to take initiative and say, hey, this is what I noticed. This process is great, but I think it can be better. And they like that. So we try it and it works. I haven't really had any situations to where someone's just so dead set on something. even though I'm older, I'm still younger when
Mhm.
it comes to a lot of church people. And they're open to, something new or something that doesn't seem overwhelming because I'm not bringing them um, TikTok when they on
Right,
Facebook.
right.
So if
Mhm,
I can help you to make Facebook better and we can hire somebody together, I'll go in and I will scout the person for you who'll
mhm,
be in charge of your TikTok, the fast lane.
mhm,
That's what we do. My gift is encouragement and support. So I walk in that, I live in it. If I can't do it, let me help you find somebody that can do it. That's one thing that I personally offer. Like if I can't do it, and I do a lot, but if
mhm,
I can't do it, I'm going to help you find somebody that can. And you said
mhm,
that a little while ago. And I think that most leaders really love and respect that.
mhm.
So they take it and everything works like a well-oiled machine.
And I think also the approach, like how you know that something may need an improvement, but it's how it's communicated. And it's important. And if you are someone who's hiring a virtual assistant, like really listen to, especially if it's a good one, listen to how they interact with you and see how they interact with you. Because you may be somebody who's high strung and you're shooting orders at your staff and all of that, and you're wondering why things aren't well receptive. They're not receptive to what you're saying. It could be they're frustrated, they don't have the resources, or they don't know how to implement it. But it is a way in how you engage people. And you can say the same thing, but two different types of ways to where a person can receive what you're saying and say, you know what, you're right. Okay, yeah, I'll give that a try. For me, um, whenever I am in a new space with a client, I may sit back and observe for a good little minute just because I want to see your team interactions. I want to see how you lead and communicate as a leader. If you're saying the people just don't get it, they don't, what I'm perceiving as someone observing is it's not what you're communicating, it's how. Um, or it's you're not giving clear instructions. People are asking clarifying questions and you're repeating what you said. And it's like, while you're repeating what you just said, that's why they're trying to ask for clarifying questions. So pay attention to your virtual assistant when they are engaging with you and your team to see, wow, okay, usually Sally give me a real hard time, but they receptive to the virtual assistant. It may be how that virtual assistant is because one, Brenda may have the solution, but she's trying to ascertain from an existing process, an existing team, how does things work and how can I be of assistance and make it even better? So pay attention to those types of things. Um, and then one of the other things that I want to ask is the transition. So your assignment is going to end, and sometimes your client may not want you to go away. They want to keep you. Um, when you have a really good virtual assistant and the contract is ending and now it's time to shift and transition things after they're gone and things are still working great, that means that you have encountered the beauty of a virtual assistant. They came in to solve a problem for you and it actually worked. But now it's your responsibility to keep it going. So, how do you do that transition when it's my contract is about to end, but I want to make sure that you still keep this going so it can be successful?
Again, I haven't had that problem. People don't want me to leave. I joked around with one of my clients, like, yeah, you can fire me if
Mhm.
if you don't want to. She's like, what? Don't like. She literally almost had a panic attack in front of me. Um, I am often told, how much they enjoy having me. So
Mhm.
I haven't experienced it yet. I
That's
haven't.
good. That's good.
Have a 100% retention rate. All of my clients are still my clients and haven't had that. Everything runs well and we communicate well. It just works.
Now, when they retain you, is it They want to keep you because things are working well. So if it's not broke, why fix it? Or do they add you in addition to their team that they already have, or they're just not looking to replace, they're not looking to hire or bring somebody else into this role?
So I've had it's kind of a little bit of all of that because my biggest client, they are a ministry and a retail business, and I do customer support for them. I'm family. I'm the
Mhm.
only person that does it, and they love me and they tell me I do a great job. They're like, this contract's never ending, and I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
And then I have other clients who we're like, all of my clients are like family. I love them. They love me. I even tell my clients I love them at the end of our meetings, our weekly check-ins. I'm like, I love you. God bless you. I'll call you.
Now, do you find yourself having to outsource as a virtual assistant as your company grows and more people desire to retain you? Then do you need to outsource and get other people to help you maintain the workload?
Absolutely. My daughter's a graphic designer, so I'll have to grab her sometimes and say, hey, I need some help with this. Um, One of my clients is a publisher and she does website work. I'm just support. I don't build websites. So if I can bless somebody else with an opportunity, I'm gonna pass the baton and say, hey, let's do this together. So and then remember, I think we came to you for some um what is it? Grant work for grants.
Mhm.
We needed help. I'm not an expert in grants, so we're definitely gonna outsource any chance we get.
Mhm. Mhm. And outsourcing is a good thing, everyone. It shows your strength as a thought leader that, hey, I can't do this by myself. I always refer to the Bible, especially when dealing with churchy people. When Moses, led millions of people out of Egypt, and he's sitting there by himself judging the people, and his father-in-law comes, bring his wife and kids, because it's like, sir, did you forget them? And he's telling them, hey, what you're doing is not good. You're sitting here doing this all by yourself. What you need to do is find able, capable people, and you need to let them do this and you manage the big stuff. So when you are thinking about, bringing on a virtual assistant, regardless of what type of virtual assistant, they can specialize in social media, they can specialize in bookkeeping. If you want specialized people or a person who's a Jane of all trades, um, really being comfortable in identifying early, not when things crash and burn. And that does not mean that things crash and burn and it can't be fixed. But before it gets that bad, identify, hey, I'm not good with money. I need somebody to help me manage books. I don't get this social media thing. I know how to post stuff on my page, but a business page is something totally different. How do I navigate that? Being okay with the delegation part of it, and even as me as a solopreneur, things that I know that, again, I'm not going to do for a client because either it's not in my scope of work or I don't have the bandwidth. I'm going to outsource to somebody else and say, hey, I need you to come in, or hey, you need to go to them. So outsourcing is not negative. It is not something to say that you can't do it. We have to remember I'm not present. We're not omnipotent. Okay. We're not all powerful. We're not everywhere in one place and everywhere at the same time. But what we are is vessels with limited capabilities. So we need teams to help us achieve these things. If Jesus used the 12, why can't you use a virtual assistant? It helps to reduce the stress. It helps to ensure that you have better time management, because if you always, yes, you're working for the Lord and you're doing ministry, but if you are married and you have children and you do not have balanced time with your family, that can cause a whole different type of issue. So anybody that you can outsource things to, so that way you can be a better steward of your time, a steward of the vision that God has given you, please work with a virtual assistant. That's what they are there for. And I know some of you may be saying, hey, I don't have no money to hire a virtual assistant. You probably do. You probably do. So I have another piece of homework for y'all. Many churches and many small businesses do not have a operating budget. And what that does is it causes you to operate from a paycheck to paycheck mentality. Even churches, you're operating from Sunday to Sunday, hoping enough people can give so you can, pay the church bills. You may be able to hire a virtual assistant if you really do an operating budget. How much does it cost for me to operate? And then ensuring that you are pricing your services and your products in a way that you can afford to cover all of your operating costs. So if your operating budget is $10,000 as just a small business a year, there's no way that you can keep selling stuff for $5.99, because that's a lot of $5.99 that you're going to have to sell to make your budget. So you need to really understand pricing strategy. If you're selling products, understanding the price of goods and services, because, those cute little boxes and labels and all of that costs. So I always tell people, do the math. Whether you're selling products, services, you're having a conference, you're selling tickets for an event, many times because we want to cater to those in our community we love, we underprice. And we pay for it on the back end because we're selling concert tickets for $10. But the venue and the food and the special guests that you want to invite is costing you $25,000, and you're only making $5,000 worth of ticket sales. Where the rest of the money come from? So you probably hire a virtual assistant, but I want you to really go through all of your income and expenses and seeing what are some things that I can cut back on to make way to hire a virtual assistant, because I can't scale the business like I want to because I'm doing everything by myself. And so I'm too tired to do things. I don't have enough time. But if I hire a virtual assistant, that'll free me up to show up, shake hands, and kiss babies, and not be stuck trying to create something on Canva when you don't even know what you're doing. Yeah, they have templates, but you making it worse because you don't know what you're doing. So really look at your budget, look at your income and expenses. Make sure that your organizational structure of your business, your nonprofit, your church is sustainable and it's organized, especially if you are a nonprofit, because you could get workforce development grants. But because you are in a moment of frustration and just trying to do anything, you haven't organized your organization into a way where you can get those type of grants to hire people and create jobs for them. For small businesses, there's small business grants. But because you are not probably legally structured or have your stuff together, you can't take advantage of a lot of the opportunities. So make sure that whatever it is that you want to do, you look at your budget and say, okay, now even if it start off with a couple of hours, you don't got to get the Supreme package. Start off with a project. Start off with something that's very minimum to see, hey, I heard Brenda is great, but I want to make sure that I'm a great person for her to work with. Hire a VA to do a small project to see, okay, what's the working dynamic? Because if you've been doing things by yourself for years and you've never outsourced, it's going to be like, oh my gosh, oh God. Many leaders, if you're not doing stuff, you think that you're not doing anything. You don't think that you're being productive, but you are, because you've outsourced. And now you can be visionary because you've outsourced the smaller things. Brenda, is there any other things that you think that it's important for leaders to think about as it relates to understanding how the significance and the benefits of outsourcing to a virtual assistant?
Okay, so initially when we decided that we would have this webinar, I had this list, and I'm like, here are the benefits, because this is the beauty of having a virtual assistant. I'm just gonna start really quickly going down the beauty of having a virtual assistant. Number one, you are hiring someone who has so many different skills. You just have to pick and choose which ones work for you. The beauty of doing it this way is that you don't have to hire a permanent person. You can literally cherry pick. There are VAs that are in other countries who can throw down essentially on some admin for $3 an hour.
Yep.
So if you only have $20 and need a project done, there you
Yep.
go. You know, um, we have Christian, a lot of people who call themselves Christian VAs on Instagram. They may charge $10 or $15 an hour. They have packages that you can cherry pick from. It's a lot. So getting a VA is not hard at all. Me personally, I branded myself as a faith-based virtual admin, not assistant, because my lane is administration. I am administrative support. However, I am certified to do social media, but I choose not to do social media. I do social media support, meaning that I will go in and schedule out the stuff that you already created. You know, if you need me to be creative, we discuss it. If I'm open to it, I'll be creative for you. I'll create posts, but mostly I'm doing stuff that's already done. I, I offer a la carte services. So you can cherry pick from my services if you need me to just schedule out social media posts. I do have people that pay me to literally just go to Hootsuite and schedule out their podcasts. It makes life so much greater because you get time back. You get that same 1 hour that it would have took you to schedule that out. You get that 1 hour back. You can go home an hour early and kiss the babies. So that is one of the greatest benefits. You get to literally hire somebody. The budget, it varies. Me personally, I'm $35 an hour if you do, individual projects. However, if you want more than an individual project, then I have packages available. Some of the things that I offer, and I can't speak for other VAs because but I do administrative support. I do database management. I do volunteer coordination. I do some financial support, meaning that I do like very limited bookkeeping tasks, but not a licensed CPA or anything. I do graphic design, content creation, communication services, meaning I do newsletters, bulletins, sermon notes, all the things. So you just literally have to, when you sit down and brainstorm what your needs are, you need to make sure that you are communicating that as you are interviewing people. Um, definitely interview quite a few people. Just hearing one person may sound amazing, um, but they may not really have the skill or because we don't have resumes as freelancers, independent contractors. We don't have resumes. A lot of us have portfolios, a lot of us don't. So you kind of just have to trust that we know what we're doing. So it's really important to get in there, have those conversations early on, before you make a final decision on your hire. Um, Outside of that, just go to the website, join the mailing list, and I do blog posts. I only do one a month, but they're really helpful. And then I do plan on having that checklist come out next week. So
Awesome. Awesome. And with her saying all of the things that she does and what she does not do, that's really, really important. You, as a leader, it's important for you to be honest about the type of help that you need. Even if you're not, don't know the specifics, like the mechanics and the details, it's important to say, hey, I am a CEO and I do presentations, for companies across the world. And these are the type of presentations that I do, and this is the type of information. Really be honest, because sometimes, y'all went on those job interviews where you've had a job tell you one thing in an interview and on a job posting, and you get there and it's like, sweetie, this is like 4 people in one position. Wait a minute. I didn't sign up for this. So be honest with a virtual assistant about the type of assistance that you need. And if you don't know, again, a checklist that she's going to put out, I put the website in the comments. So go there and join the email list so that way you can get updates on everything. Look at that checklist and really say, hey, even if you start off with one thing, that's one thing that you've taken off of your plate. And when you work with her, you'll understand, oh, wow, there's some other things, whether it's Brenda doing it or she recommends you to outsource it to somebody else. Those are things that's taken out of your plate. So that way you can show up in your zone of genius of being a leader, whether you're a consultant, you're a teacher, a coach, you can show up without being stressed because you've been under emails and trying to figure out Canva and update your website, and then you done mess stuff up and now you're upset. So it's like, outsource it. Don't do it all by yourself. I want to thank you so much, Brenda, for being here again. This month is all things about administrative help. Administration is one of my strong gifts as well. And so it is something I'm very passionate about when I see faith-based organizations, whether it's nonprofit or churches, and you have great leadership, great vision, but the administration is a mess. You cannot do effective ministry that way. Yeah, you having church, you're having a good time churching on Sunday, but the back end, it becomes very, very frustrated and you start hitting those brick walls. Administration is a gift. It's in the Bible. So embrace the gift, and it's not something that's counterproductive. It's something to assist you and help you. Okay. So I have a few announcements. I got to have my announcements before we close. So we want to thank Brenda and AGF Ministry Virtual Solutions. She was our one of our sponsors for the Her Voice Proclaims event we had in October, and I was very, very happy that she did that. So thank you so much. Her website is here. It's also in the comments. Again, even if you start off with one project, you don't know how to work email good, start off with one project. You itinerant preacher now and you don't know what to do, start off with one project, at least a booking form, so you won't be getting stuff between Instagram, Facebook, text message, all that kind of stuff. You need one source. We are here to help you streamline things so you can be more efficient. If you are looking for a CFO, again, we're talking about outsourcing here. Brenda is working with you for admin needs, but you realize, hey, there's some funding I'm trying to get, or I just want to make sure I have a better pulse on my organization's finances, especially you nonprofits and churches, small businesses too. But those of you where you are at the level where you may want to get funding, financing, and they're asking you for income and loss statements and this and that, and you looking like, huh? Because Sister Betty's still doing ledgers with the paper. We want to step it up. So Neek, she was our speaker last month. So get with CFO and Associates for all of your accounting needs. She is one of our preferred partners. So please make sure that you connect with them. And then we have Melinda, who did the tax presentation, very detailed and thorough about taxes and just doing the right things. We're kingdom citizens, but y'all got to stop scamming. Okay. So 2024, scam no more. That is the motto. The IRS is on our head about a whole lot of things now because of the scamming over the pandemic. So Miss Melinda, she has over 30 years of tax experience, and she's not the type that's going to scam and get you a big return. She's going to tell you, you shouldn't have went to that person the last time because they didn't mess you up. So this is how you get in contact with her, and she'll be more than happy to get you together to make sure that you have established better tax habits. Okay. I know in the Black community, we kind of say, we have this feeling, but we want to be compliant so your wages can stop being garnished. So you not filing taxes is keeping you from purchasing a home or doing certain things. So come on, let's get compliant, y'all. Let's get compliant. The Sisters Ministry is having their launch event. They are hosting the Loving Wisely Without Losing Yourself event. So all women, it's women only. Leave your husband, fiance, boo at home. This is for single and married women. They're hosting it Saturday, February 17th at 10:30 at Holy Land Church of God in Christ in San Bernardino, California. Registration is free, but they would love for you to register so they can prepare for you and stay connected with you after the event. If you are in the Houston area, you live in Houston, Rosenberg, Pearland, Richmond, Cypress, Katy, all of that. The Prayer Institute, they are hosting a prayer mastermind network. And on February 22nd at 11:30 a.m., meet the guest speaker, Joseph High, at the Windsor Village Church at KPC. I love prayer. Prayer is really important, but I think it's important for us to understand the fundamentals of prayer, really understand, if you are an intercessor, are you assigned to a prayer watch? What are the different types of prayer? So not only, visit, attend that, but also go to the Prayer Institute's website because they have a lot of resources as it relates to prayer, and that can really help you. Again, if you are in Houston, my former pastor, when I lived out there, Higher Dimension Church, they are having the Answer Conference. You can register on Eventbrite. Just type in the Answer Conference in Houston in the search, and it'll come up for you to register. This is for single and married couples. These are the answers that you need to life's questions, right, as it relates to relationships. So please be sure to attend, those of you who live in the Houston area and the surrounding suburbs. And then on the 29th, Lynn Smith of Lachelle Royal Services, she is also an executive administrative leader at Higher Dimension Church. She's going to be talking to us. I'm going to need to fix this title, but she's going to be talking about the administrative, helping executives in serving executive leaders, because sometimes we need admin and then other times executive leaders need something different. So we want to make sure that we have the skill for that. And then 412 will be launching the Her Learning Lab this month. So if you want to be on the text list so that you can be notified, text Her Lab at 41372 to be notified. This is an online community, and we will have people like Brenda who we will invite to kind of give you some tips and things to better manage your calendars or how to look for a virtual assistant if many of you are at that point. We're going to have Neek to come in and talk about, because we were talking afterwards and she was like, I didn't even get into the different accounting concepts and terminology that you need as far as organizations or businesses. So this is a learning lab for you to learn. Again, we're a training group for you to learn how to lead and serve your congregations, communities, and corporate America clients well. There'll be opportunities for prayer. There'll be opportunities to even learn about how to be a better worship leader, how to lead children's ministry. So this is a learning community for you to really learn and implement what it is you're learning into your organizations and your ministries, as well as a way to connect and network, meet many of our preferred partners, meet people a little bit more intimately, like, inviting Brenda on, and you can ask questions. So be looking for that. Again, text Her Lab to 41372 so that way you can be on the text list to be notified. And then Miss Eva J, she is having the Journey concert March 16th at 4 p.m. in Carson, California. This is her birthday concert. So for those of you who are in Carson and the surrounding cities, make sure that you visit the website and attend. I know you're like, dang, Houston again. Yes, I lived out there for 7 years. I worked at Church Without Walls. So they are having the IC3, the Issachar Church Conference, April 23rd through the 25th. This is a church growth and development conference. So if you can fly in, if you're not too far, be sure that you register. Your pastor, associate pastor, all of your ministry leaders can register and attend. They have a plethora of workshops and classes that you can attend to learn information of how you can grow and develop your organization. And then our final announcement is Pastor DeAntoinette Robinson, the Sisters Ministry. They're doing their launch event in February. Then September, they are having their girlfriend getaway retreat in Indian Wells. So if anybody been to California, you've been to Palm Springs or Indian Wells, Palm Desert, it's in that area where people like to go to retreats and just hang out and relax. This is where you can go and relax. VIP is completely sold out, but they do have general admission, and they will have vendor opportunities for those of you who would like to vend. So be sure to register at the Sisters Ministry to register for the retreat. So thank you so much, Brenda, again for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it for everything that you do. Administration is, I won't even say it's my favorite gift because all of my favorite, it was the one that I was hiding behind and that was my most comfortable, but it's still one of my most favorites because you just have a passion of seeing people really achieve the things that God has called them to do. And one of those things that you all need is proper people who can understand administration and help you. So thank you for your dedication to really walk into that and help faith-based organizations have the support that they need to really accomplish their mission.
I thank you. I thank you for being a vessel, a willing vessel, being obedient to his word and helping women thrive. You've helped me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, everyone, thank you so much for attending. For those of us on the West Coast, it's early in the afternoon. For those of y'all on the East and Central, it's getting in the evening time. Almost time for y'all to go to sleep, and we ain't even got off work yet. But thank you so much, those of you who will watch the replay. Thank you for watching the replay. And again, if you would like to stay connected with us, you can watch the replay for the text. I'll put a post for those who would like to join the text list for the Learning Lab. And for those who I'm connected with, Evangelist Philadelphia, they are gearing up for their women's conference in the Chicago area. So I will have more information for that when she provides it to me. I just love to have really embrace and support the community that I'm connected to, because us as women, especially in ministry, not all the time we have the support. So I want to make sure that I can support as many as possible with a tiny bit of influence that I do have. All right. So have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. Those of us in California who experienced the earthquake a little while ago, stay safe. If you are in an area where the weather conditions are bad, please stay safe, drive safely, and don't go outside unless you absolutely need to. Until we meet again in a couple of weeks, I want you all to have a wonderful evening, wonderful weekend. Have a nice day.